What's up, everyone? If you're looking at the slate of games for a Monday night and you're thinking, boy, what am I going to watch? Or what am I going to bet on tonight? And you're thinking it's quiet, never quiet for our SportsLine crew. Welcome to The Early Edge, everyone, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. I'm Chris Onorato. Great to be with you here on this Monday, in between all the action, if you will. But that means it gives us time to do a little bit of homework, a little bit of research, and to look at some of the longer plays when it comes to the NBA Finals, specifically as we wait for Game 1 on Thursday night. Let's bring in our SportsLine experts now here on The Early Edge. Proppy and Mike Barner. Chris with you here, guys. Great to be with you. We've got plenty of time to hash out the NBA Finals here and who we think is going to win. Is it a money line play? Although that is such a big number in OKC's favor. And so where can we find some spots to win the people a little bit of money here? How did they get here? OKC, a favorite from all along, and they've looked like the best team all along here, guys. But Indiana, a preseason 50-1 shot to win the title. I mean, there is some history here that would jump out at you if the Pacers are able to do it. It'd be one of the longest shots ever since 1985 to make this happen. Start of the playoffs, even worse odds, 80-1 as the 4 seed in the East. OKC, as we said, look, preseason 9-1. They've been a favorite all along. That 57.5 win total still was not too much for the Thunder to get it done here. So, Proppy, I'm going to start with you here. You liked this Pacers team. Shock level that now we are going to watch Tyrese Halliburton and company in the NBA Finals.
Chris, shock level very minimal here. I can't quite claim that I was backing the Pacers in the preseason, but heading into this postseason, I thought they were the true dark horse, not just in the Eastern Conference, but the NBA playoff picture as a whole. Reason being, they just have been playing exceptional basketball post All-Star break, had the 4th best record in the NBA. Tyrese Halliburton also was fully healthy, at full strength. We saw him struggle early in the season, which I think was a result of just dealing with nagging injuries. But when he's at his best, his ability to dictate tempo is unmatched. And they're healthy. They've got the depth. They've got a tremendous head coach that we're going to touch on more shortly. But I am not surprised one bit to see the Pacers in the finals here. They've been a great team that have been slept on for a while now.
Mike, as I ask you the same thing here, it's kind of interesting to see it's taken both of these teams 16 games to get here. So as dominant as we make OKC out to be, the Pacers have kind of cruised to a degree as well, albeit through the Eastern Conference playoffs. How surprised are you that we're now talking about the Pacers in the NBA Finals?
I'm very surprised. When the playoffs started, I thought the Celtics were the team to beat out of the Eastern Conference, and I even thought the Celtics could beat the Thunder to win the title. Obviously, that didn't come to fruition. Kristaps Porzingis had that illness that really messed him up throughout the playoffs, and then the Jason Tatum injury, but the Knicks were going to win that series anyways. I'm very surprised. I thought it was either going to be the Celtics or the Cavaliers coming out of the East. The Pacers looks great, and now we see if they can hang with a Thunder team that could be historically good here.
All right, we're going to talk about how much you guys both think Indiana has a shot of hanging, maybe not winning this, but maybe hanging around and creating a little bit of an interesting series for us. Proppy, you mentioned Indiana's head coach, Rick Carlisle. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer for sure. He already has an NBA championship with the Mavericks, and he's getting closer to top 10 all time in terms of coaching wins. He's second active wins right now. Where would you rank him as a coach in this league, maybe overall or among active guys?
Yeah, I think you can make a strong case that Rick Carlisle is the best coach right now in the NBA, and certainly has an argument top 10 all time. Two things that I think are somewhat forgotten. He was the head coach of the Pistons team that won the title in 2004, was ultimately fired for Larry Brown, but he had a lot to do with that roster construction. And again, that was a tremendous team. His ability to take average players and to turn them into stars or get star level production is unmatched. We saw the Pacers team, unfortunately, that had the malice at the palace. That team looked like it had legitimate championship aspirations. So he kind of got robbed there. And then he took a Mavericks team that was a significant underdog to LeBron and the Heat, pulling off one of the greatest upsets in the NBA Finals, kind of mirroring this Finals matchup as well. So yeah, I think he's a tremendous coach. I think it's a big advantage that the Pacers have on OKC. So yeah, I could not sing his praises anymore. I think Rick Carlisle is one of the greats, if not the best current coach in the NBA.
And Mike, got talked about a lot in that Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks. And for as strong of a coach as Tom Thibodeau is, the conversation was he's being outcoached by Rick Carlisle, and it's the use of depth and missing around with the lineup a little bit here, which we finally saw Tibbs do later on in that series. He already has one Coach of the Year. He has 4 top 5 finishes in that voting over his career as well. Where would you rank Carlisle?
Yeah, I think you mentioned the adjustments. One of the key adjustments that he made in that series against the Knicks was in Game 6, having Pascal Siakam defend Karl-Anthony Towns more. Towns was just dominating Miles Turner, and Siakam really threw him off his games. Towns scored 22 points, but he didn't look like his normal self. I think Rick Carlisle, I think Eric Spoelstra is the best head coach in the NBA currently, but anybody behind him, I think Carlisle deserves to be in that discussion right behind Spoelstra. If he gets his second title here, then yeah, he certainly vaults up the career all-time coaches. Spoelstra is the only guy right now that I could make an argument over Carlisle.
And you could argue that Carlisle's doing more with less over the course of his career, right, Mike?
Yeah, definitely. This adjustments that he makes during the season and during each individual playoff series is really impressive. And what he did there with the Knicks, against the Knicks, Tibbs didn't really have a match. You don't often see Tibbs go deep into his bench. That's when you know he was in desperation mode with him going to guys like DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet off the bench.
All right, probably let's turn to the Knicks here. What does New York need to do to get beyond the Eastern Conference Finals? Because you know how this goes. Making history, first time in 25 years, not good enough. The prospect of reaching the NBA Finals is something these Knicks fans are still waiting for.
Chris, I'm not sure what the Knicks really can do, considering the amount of equity they've got basically tied up in their core nucleus, having pulled off the trade for Karl-Anthony Towns, having traded for Mikal Bridges, signed OG Anunoby. They have basically the majority of their cap locked into their starting 5. So they really don't have a lot of flexibility here outside of maybe the mid-level veteran exception. So outside of, unless they decide to trade Cat or maybe OG or Mikal Bridges, really their best bet is just to add another veteran piece, run it back, hope that they're healthy, and maybe improve the depth a little bit, because we saw these guys run down as a result of just playing massive minutes during the regular season here. So if I'm running the Knicks, I'm just trying to add a couple of rotation. If I can add maybe 1 or 2 rotational guys, at least, who can take some of the stress and pressure off in the regular season, not having the Knicks, basically all of their starters, top 5 in minutes per game, that would be the entirety of my focus.
Mike, people just mentioned, go ahead.
Yeah, they need a bench wing player. They have a good bench guard in McBride, a good bench center in Mitchell Robinson. But like Proppy said, their payroll, they don't have a lot of flexibility. So I think the key would be to add a wing that can help them off the bench.
I was going to say, everyone will just attach Giannis's name to every franchise this offseason. I don't know if they can make it work in New York, but Knicks fans will be talking and dreaming about that for sure. All right, guys, we're going to make some picks here on this NBA Finals coming up here on the Early Edge on CBS Sports Network. Boy, Thunder, a historic favorite, minus 700. That's not going to win the people some money. We've got to do better than that. Are we bold enough to take the Pacers? How deep will this series go? That's all coming up here on the Early Edge. Welcome back to the Early Edge on CBS Sports Network. Chris Onorato, Proppy in the middle, prop bets, and Mike Barner as well. Okay, guys, we're breaking down the NBA Finals here, start to finish. PropStarz, I'm starting with you here, man. OKC is a minus 700 to win this series. I don't know. I don't have enough money to put on that to try to make a little bit of money. So help us find something here that can win some money for some people here. It's a historic favorite in OKC's favor. You look at Golden State back in 18, minus 1075. So the Thunder are pushing that a little bit here. How many games will this series go? Let's try to find an edge there.
Yeah, I like this series to be competitive, so I'm going to go over 5.5 games. You can get this at plus money as well. I just think this Pacers team continues to be slept on, not getting the credit they deserve. Their backs are against the wall here. They just played such good basketball. They're so well coached. They have excellent depth. They check all the boxes for me. Now everyone's counting them out. I just think it's a good spot for them. I really believe they're going to be competitive. Yes, OKC is a great team, a rightful favorite, but I think it's too drastic in the Thunder's favor here. And I think we're going to see the Pacers really surprise a lot of people on the national stage. I'm not surprised, but they're going to make some believers because I know how good this team is, and I think they're going to give OKC all they can handle. So I expect a very competitive series. Would not surprise me if this is 6 or 7. So I'm going to go over plus 5.5 games at plus money. I love this Pacers team to be competitive.
I'll take the other side of this. I think we get 5 games out of this series. I think that the Thunder are going to win the first 2 at home. The Pacers will get 1 of the 2 in Indiana, and then the Thunder will close things out in game 5 at home. I don't think these games are going to be blowouts. That 9.5 point spread for game 1 is pretty big. Like Proppy said, the Pacers have the depth to be able to keep these games competitive. I just don't think they have enough to win more than 1 game in the series. I like the Thunder's defense down the stretch to concentrate on shutting down Halliburton even more. So I think this is a 5-game series.
All right, guys, some of your next answer was just in that previous one, but I'm going to ask it anyway, Proppy, here. You look at the series spread of games, difference, in other words, how many will OKC beat the Pacers by? What do you like here?
I'm going to take the Pacers at plus 2.5 games. Again, I think we're looking at a competitive series here. And while Oklahoma City have been fantastic, I think this is their biggest test. We saw Denver push them to the absolute limit. To me, the Pacers are a better basketball team. And while they may be able to slow down Tyrese Halliburton, his ability to dictate tempo and to make an impact, even when he's not scoring the basketball, he's the best point guard in the NBA. He's just a tremendous distributor, and you've got so many guys on this Pacers team who can step up. And again, they have tremendous depth. They're very well coached. Lots of guys that can beat them. They're healthy. They're peaking right now, and most importantly, they believe. So I think this series is going to be ultra competitive. If you're going to spot the Indiana Pacers a couple of games, I am going to happily take it and take it to the bank because we've been backing them all throughout the postseason, and I think the hype train is going to continue on here. And again, I think this series is very competitive.
I'll keep this short and sweet because I'm on the other side of property. I'll do Thunder minus 2.5 games. I just think their defense is going to be able to completely shut down the Pacers late in these close games, and that's going to be the difference in the series.
Thunder were minus 800 to win the series against the Nuggets, and probably, like you said, that went 7, so we shall see. Okay, that exact game outcome now. We're not going to give you the opportunity to build yourself a little bit of a pad here. How many games is this game? How many games is this series going, Proppy?
I like 7. I think regardless of who ends up prevailing here, I do think it's going to be ultra competitive. So give me 7 games. I could see it going either way. Unfortunately, you're getting great odds, whether you're taking the Thunder or especially the Pacers. I think you can hedge a little bit and take both of these and still make out pretty well. So I like the series to go 7.
I'm going to take the exact Thunder score, 4 games to 1 in the series. You get that around plus 250. I love the plus odds there, and I think the Thunder dominate.
Yeah, better odds that the Thunder sweep this thing than the Pacers win it. We'll see what happens here. I Proppy, for all of our sake, I hope you're closer to right on this because it just makes a competitive, entertaining series. We'll find out. All right, how about some player specials here? It's in your name, PropStarz, so give us a prop on a player special that you like.
Yeah, one I came across that I really like is Jalen Williams of the Thunder to lead the finals and made three-pointers. You can find this anywhere between 11 to 1 to 15 to 1, so a tremendous price here. I think Jalen Williams is going to have a big series. We've seen opposing forwards really do well against the Indiana Pacers, and Jalen Williams quietly is having a tremendous playoffs. He's averaging more than two made three-pointers per game. And Tyrese Halliburton, who's the favorite to make the most threes in the finals, is averaging just less than one made three than Williams throughout the postseason. And also, Mikey B touched on it with this Thunder defense. So many exceptional defenders. They're great at guarding the perimeter. So I think Jalen Williams is set up to have a big impact on the series, and I like him to make the most three-pointers.
I'm going to take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to record at least 5 assists in each games of the series. That's even money at plus 100. He averaged 6.4 assists per game during the regular season, averaging 6.9 assists per game in the playoffs. He's had at least 5 assists in all but one playoff game. That was Game 7 against the Nuggets, and he just missed it with 4. This is going to be an up-and-down series. SGA has the ball in his hands a ton, so I think he gets at least 5 assists in every game.
Maybe it's Halliburton in that category overall, but how about just an overall leader in these NBA Finals? Points, rebounds, or assists? Proppy?
I'm going to go again, right back to Jalen Williams here. I just think, with SGA, who's, able to put up monster points, I think Jalen Williams could step up really big. We've seen opposing forwards really make a big impact, and he is the Scottie Pippen to SGA's Michael Jordan. He's an exceptional player in his own right, very versatile, able to make a big impact. They could also use him as a small ball 5 as well, so it wouldn't surprise me if the Pacers decide to go small with Siakam at 5 if we see Jalen Williams playing center. And if that's the scenario, he's going to rack up a ton of counting stats. So I like Jalen Williams in this category.
I'll go with Chet Holmgren to have the most rebounds in the series at minus 125. Miles Turner is not a great rebounder for the Pacers. We just saw Karl Anthony Towns dominate them. He averaged 12.2 rebounds per game in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think we're going to see a lot of Hartenstein in this series. I think Holmgren at the 5 fits well with how much Turner plays on the perimeter for the Pacers. He averaged 8.6 rebounds per game so far in the playoffs. I could see him averaging close to 10 in this series.
Okay, there you go. Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren in that category from our guys, PropStarz, Mikey B. When we come back here on the Early Edge on CBS Sports Network, can the guys find us an Andre Iguodala, if you will? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, heavy favorite to win the MVP, followed by Tyrese Halliburton, who's laying in the weeds, ready to make a big statement in these NBA Finals. That's next on the Early Edge. Game 1 of the NBA Finals, Thursday night, 8:30 Eastern in Oklahoma City. We are all over the series plays here on the Early Edge. Chris Onorato, PropStarz, Mikey B back with you, and now Mackenzie Brooks. Great to have you in on this conversation, Kens, as we get into some of the MVP discussion and maybe finding a non-SGA or non-Tyrese, if that's at all possible. You see the numbers on your screen here, the odds to win it. Of course, the regular season MVP, the heavy favorite to win NBA Finals MVP, and then Halliburton, who thought he was going to be the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, sitting at plus 700, the favorite wearing a Pacers uniform. All right, let's start the conversation there. PropStarz, are you surprised at the heavy lean towards SGA?
I'm not surprised at all, Chris. I mean, we're talking about the reigning regular season MVP who has a sky-high usage rate coupled with incredible scoring prowess. So it makes sense with the ball in his hands. He is the man, the alpha on this Thunder team. So he's going to average over 30 points per game. He's going to be a big reason why, if the Thunder do prevail, it'll be because of SGA. So not at all surprised here. Not something I'm going to bet, however, considering how big of a favorite he is.
Yeah, Mike, no fun with the Thunder minus 700, SGA minus 550. When you look at the odds that came out here, are you surprised in any way?
Yeah, not at all. He's averaging almost 30 points, 5.7 rebounds, 6.9 assists, and 1.6 steals in the playoffs. The guy is unbelievable. There's no surprise here.
Kens, there was plenty of discussion about, hey, it could be Jokic who still wins the MVP in the regular season. There's really no discussion here, though, in terms of who should be the favorite for MVP in the NBA Finals. Surprised by that big number?
Not at all. It is just crazy to think. I know I'm a little late to the party here on the show, but like even just to have a team, minus 700 in the NBA Finals, like it does, he's making up for what, like 80 to 90% of the chances of OKC winning the finals. So the bigger crazy wild part to me is just how favored this OKC team is. I'm on board with it, but just shows how dominant they are.
Not late to the party, fashionably late. And that's more important, that when you show up right. All right. Can we find somebody here that isn't named SGA? I mentioned Andre Iguodala going into the last break. Can we find somebody who isn't a star, but who may become a household name when all is said and done here after these NBA Finals? Proppy?
Yeah, how about a guy who's already has finals experience, won an NBA championship, and is coming off of an Eastern Conference Finals where he averaged just a hair under 25 points per game. And I'm talking about Spicy P, Pascal Siakam here. I think he could have a massive impact on this, especially because of how suffocating that Oklahoma City defense is. And if they're able to somewhat nullify Tyrese Halliburton, I think Pascal Siakam will have to step up and carry a big scoring load in this series. But he's playing very good basketball. He was great against the Knicks. Had 30-plus point performances versus New York. And he is, again, more than capable, has the finals experience. So I like him. I also want to mention Jalen Williams, who I think will have a big series for Oklahoma City as well. So both long shots, both worth a sprinkle, in my opinion.
I'll take Chet Holmgren as my long shot at plus 8,000, simply because I don't trust the big men on the Pacers to be able to control the glass. Could Chet Holmgren average 18 points, 10 rebounds, and a couple of blocks in this series? Yes. Is that enough to probably surpass whatever SGA will do? No. But at plus 8,000, if we're looking for a long shot, I'll go with Holmgren.
It's interesting because obviously SGA doesn't have a lot of value, but what he would have to do to, quote unquote, exceed our expectations, which is typically what you have to do to win an MVP award. Like this guy has to put up 35 plus points, just absolutely wild stats. But a guy like Jalen Williams, his right-hand man over there, that's a guy that just needs like one or two games where he has the winning shot. He has the winning defensive stop there that really puts him on people's radar. So obviously it is a long shot. We saw around 33-1. I just think it should be closer to like 10-1, 15-1, but 33-1 on him just feels a little disrespectful. Voters seem to love the number 2 guy. We saw Jalen last year for the Celtics. We saw Siakam win Eastern Conference Finals MVP as well. So all it takes is just one or two star moments for him to put him in the conversation.
And Ken's on that. What do you think about just the expectation for SGA to be great every night? That like if he has a couple of games that don't reach that, maybe voters start looking in another direction.
Yeah, I mean, you get voter fatigue as well, knowing that he wins the regular season MVP as well. So that's another reason I like to look down the board here. But I think there will be so many nights where he's so impactful in so many ways. But if he's not putting up these wild, beautiful stats, voters, fans, they don't feel the same way because they have such a high bar for him. So I think there honestly is pretty good value looking at any of the guys we said. I like Chet as well. I think he'll really dominate the boards here, like Mike said.
And Proppy, I'm not going to gloss over the fact that you picked a pacer in this segment. Can we get an MVP from a team that doesn't win if it goes 7 and Siakam is great?
It would take just an incredible performance. I think it's extremely unlikely, especially when we're talking about Oklahoma City, who had the dominant regular season and then is favored to win here. So I think it's very unlikely. The one scenario I could see would be SGA, who, if he had some 40-point games, 50-point games, and let's say it went 7 games and the Pacers prevailed, That's the one exception to the losing team having an MVP. But yeah, the strength of the Pacers is ultimately their depth. So they've got so many guys who are productive, who are stepping up, who are able to contribute to the rotation that it really could be anyone. But yeah, I think it's very unlikely someone from a losing team will win the award.
All right, we've taken that bird's eye view of the series here so far on the early edge. When we come back, we are going to break down game one specifically. Again, Thursday night, 8:30 Eastern. In the meantime, make sure you are signed up at sportsline.com. 60% off an annual plan when you use that promo code on your screen. Winners, sportsline.com/join, or even easier, just use that QR code on your screen. We're back right after this. We've taken that 30,000-foot view of this NBA Finals over the last half hour. Time to dig down a little bit deeper here, a little more granular with a Game 1 preview here. Chris Onorato, PropStarz, Mikey B, and Mackenzie Brooks on the early edge on CBS Sports Network. Okay, Proppy, how about just the spread overall on this Game 1? It's a big number.
It is, Chris, and yeah, I'm gonna give me the 9.5 points with the Indiana Pacers here. I'm shocked this isn't 5.5 or 6.5. The Pacers have been fast starters too. They won game one in all three of their previous series. So this team is just playing with fantastic rhythm and pace. And again, I just think this Pacers team are in a great spot. They're just being counted out by everyone. Oklahoma City is a massive favorite, so I think they're playing with house money, considering the expectations are that they're going to get swept or lose in 5 games here. I'm not counting this Pacers team out. I think we're looking at a very competitive finals, and I think they come out in game 1 and make a statement.
So I'm all aboard for the Thunder making this a quick series, but I'm not aboard with 9.5 points. I'm with Proppy here. I think the Pacers plus 9.5. They are 6-2 on the road. They've shown they can come back from basically any deficit during this playoff run. I think the Thunder win game 1, but I don't think 9.5 is the right number.
Wow, I guess I'm on an island here. I've been a big OKC girl, but I would like it on record that I did love the Pacers against the Knicks. I liked them to win that game. I thought they'd win it in 5. And it always is on, the idea that they're younger or deeper or more athletic, but you can't out young, deep, more athletic OKC, right? That they are the poster child of that. So OKC throughout the entire playoffs are winning these games based off their turnover margin and their 2-point differential. And the rebounding was never, I don't even want to call it a weakness because they just weren't so awesome at it. But now you have the Pacers who aren't that awesome of a rebounding team from what we saw at all. So in the SportsLine model, we actually have OKC winning the rebounding battle. So now you have all 3 of these things working for the OKC side that we typically don't even credit them for. So I do think this might be the time we see the Pacers meet their match here, and I think OKC does cover.
Okay, Proppy, if there's anything to kind of hold your breath on with Indiana, it's their ability to make outside shots. When they go cold, it can become cold, and they'll struggle to score it. But both these teams, on average, can really get up and down and score the basketball. So how about the play on a total here for game 1?
Yeah, this is more of a lean for me, Chris, than a full unit play. But I'm going to go over on the 230.5 total here. I just think if we look at the series, game 1, typically they tend to be a little higher pace, more frenetic than as the series typically wears on. So I think early on we're going to see some up-tempo basketball. One thing with Indiana is they make teams adjust to them. They're going to play their brand of basketball, and that starts with the point guard, Tyrese Halliburton, who is the best point guard in the NBA. And at risk of sounding like a broken record, his ability to dictate pace is unmatched. And I really believe that Oklahoma City is going to have their hands full with Tyrese Halliburton at the helm. He's just as comfortable distributing as he is scoring. He really can do so many things from that point guard position. So I think early on in the series, we'll see some high scoring affairs between these two explosive offenses.
Yeah, I agree with Proppy. I'll do the over 230.5. The Thunder have scored at least 114 points in 11 of 16 playoff games. That's a crazy number for playoffs. These two teams, they like to push the pace. Like Proppy said, you'll see the lower scoring games later in the series because teams make adjustments defensively, but that's not necessarily the case early on. So I'll take the over for game one.
Back on my own island again here. I'm going to isolate the Pacers here. Their team total under 110.5. I don't think they have the front court beef to capitalize on offensive rebounds. And offensive rebounds to me are such a large part of being able to go over these types of team totals. We've talked about it before. We all like how Chet will probably be able to perform against this team as well. So, they have been such a clean team. They're not turning the ball over, but, regression to the mean can always come. And even if they are a clean team, we could also have, OKC finally light it up from deep as well. So there's just a lot of factors that make it hard for me to believe they're going to be able to hang with this OKC defense.
Some of this NBA playoffs have been tough to read, even just on the money line, the way we've seen certain teams winning games where you may not really expect it. So how about a player prop here, Proppy, that we can really target in on, even if we're not sure which way this game is going to go, money line or by the spread?
Yeah, I'm going to go with fading the Thunder's Alex Caruso. Going to go under 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Caruso, who's really been a fantastic veteran addition to this Thunder team. Coming off the bench, he plays tremendous defense. He makes a huge impact. It doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, but this is a big number for Caruso, likely inflated too by the Western Conference Finals, where the Thunder opted to play a smaller lineup, and as a result, Caruso played more minutes. So I'm not so sure in game one he's going to see 30 plus minutes. He's also been held under this line in 7 consecutive playoff games and 12 of 16 playoff games in this postseason. So really, outside of some shooting, he doesn't really contribute a lot of counting stats. So I think this is a good spot to fade Caruso, really not knowing what his role is going to be, especially early. Even if he does get 30 plus minutes, this has proven to be a big line for him.
I'm going to go to his teammate here. Hopefully he can hit his overs with Chet over 27.5 PRA. I know Mike's a big fan of him as well in this series. I like the PRA because I think it could be shooting over some of the top shorter Pacers defenders. It could be taking some of the taller guys off the dribble. And if they are stopping his shooting, I think it comes with the assists and those rebounds. I think he'll hit double-digit rebounds as well. But a lot of this has to do with the minutes here. I think, to the Pacers' credit, you can never count them out, and I don't think OKC will. So I think Chet will be playing 30-plus minutes. When he plays 30-plus minutes, he was 3-1 to this over against Minnesota there. So again, I think this is a minutes game. I don't think they'll take any risks, and I think he just has a great series overall.
I like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 6.5 assists at -125. I was running to see what this number was set at. He's recorded at least 8 assists in 4 of the 5 games against the Timberwolves. The one time he didn't was because he only played 28 minutes in game 3, and he still had 6 assists in that game. I already talked previously about him averaging 6.9 assists per game in the playoffs. He had 8 assists in both games that he played against the Pacers during the regular season. He's not just a great scorer. He is an excellent passer. He has the ball in his hands a ton. So I think he goes over the 6.5 assists.
And Mikey B, that's the fear, right? That Kenzie kind of alluded to there, the fear of a blowout limiting what we might get in some of these player props.
Yeah, but I don't think game one's going to be a blowout. I'm on the side of the Pacers plus 9.5. I think game one's a lot of feeling them out. So that tends to keep the games closer. So I think SGA, he's been playing upwards of 40 minutes in most of these playoff games. I think he's a shoo-in for at least 35 minutes in this game and probably posters 40 again.
Plenty of time for adjustments between games 1 and 2. Thursday night, game 1. We don't get game 2 until Sunday night, still in OKC. Join our SportsLine experts here where you're never in doubt. We give you the best bets, our model picks, and it's all in one place. SportsLine.com/join to sign up today, where you'll get 60% off an annual plan by using that promo code WINNERS. Scan the QR code on your screen as well. When we come back, Mackenzie stays with us to look at those model plays. Speaking of, when it comes to Major League Baseball, love that. Back on the early edge on CBS Sports Network, Chris Onorato, Mackenzie Brooks. Okay, we started the show by saying you might be looking at the slate of games thinking, what am I watching tonight? No NBA Finals, no Stanley Cup Final, baseball, college baseball, a little softball maybe, sure. It's all out there for us, and that's why Mackenzie's sticking around. The model plays when it comes to Major League Baseball specifically. Ken's, all right, get us started here. If we were looking for something to play today, what do you like in the majors?
Yeah, I mean, there's always ways to make money here, Chris, okay? It might not be the prettiest games ever, but we do have some value here. We're going to start with the Boston money line. You can find it around minus 175, or excuse me, around minus 150. That's something we would set closer to minus 175, so I think that's why you're getting pretty solid value here. They're playing the Angels, just two teams, very different vibes right now. You have Boston coming off a solid series against the Braves. Now they get to return home. You have the Angels, who I think have lost 7 of their last 8. Not good vibes happening over there. And you also have Richard Fitz on the mound for this Boston team. And his numbers have been great, but he's like 0-8 in those starts for some reason. So I think this is when he's honestly just incredibly due to be rewarded for the stats he has been putting up as a pitcher here. So I think they're getting the Angels at the right time. And I think you just go with the money line.
Mike Trout is back for the Angels, but they're moving him around in the lineup, like batting 5th for the first time in a long, long time, trying to find exactly where he fits. And when you're Mike Trout and you're not exactly sure where you're hitting every day, that's a bizarre place to be for Ron Washington and the Los Angeles Angels. All right, how about Brady Singer, who's been a really nice addition in Cincinnati? You're looking at his strikeout prop.
Yeah, I mean, last time he played the Brewers, he put up 7 strikeouts on the road here. So I like him over 4.5 today. Now, we don't have him projected for 7 here, but we do have him projected for 5. But you're getting good plus money if you shop around for this. So I think it's just worth it. He has a strikeout mark, 63% of his starts last season. So we're expecting the strikeout numbers to trend upward moving forward. Again, another guy you're kind of buying low on, but knowing that he's had success against the Brewers historically makes me feel good about the plus money play.
And Juan Soto, I mean, Mets fans, as much as New York is winning here, they're waiting for Soto to really kind of break out and get comfortable. And you look at that stretch he had of 0 for 16 lately. The power numbers are down, RBIs. Soto's chances to hit a home run tonight. Why do you say yes? Maybe Soto goes deep.
Well, it sounds like he's due, Chris, from all the things you're telling me here. But in all seriousness, we would set this around plus 330. It has a lot to do with right-handed pitchers. You look at 9 of his last 10 home runs were against right-handed pitchers here. And Dustin May, he's kind of given up a decent amount, 6 home runs in his last 5 starts and allowing 1 home run in the first 5 starts there of the season as well. So I think we're finally getting a spot where Juan Soto could have some success. He is just 1-9 in his career against May, but he does have just 2 strikeouts and 12 plate appearances. So he's making solid contact. I just think it's time that he hits 1 yard today.
Fun series between the Mets and the Dodgers not all that long ago that they played at Citi Field, and we saw the ball jumping, Ken's, like crazy between the Yankees and the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine. So maybe that goes into Soto's maybe shot at success in terms of hitting a home run. What does the SportsLine model tell us about the odds that Saquon Barkley would be leaping onto the cover of Madden?
Oh, they should have been minus 8,000. I mean, the guy deserves it here, and he's going to have an even bigger year this year, I think. Not to go completely sidetracked here, but we haven't even seen him break out into his receiving game yet, really, right? And I think we saw a sneak peek of it in the Super Bowl, but just to know the potential that we haven't even hit the ceiling with this guy yet, it's a good time to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan, Chris. I will tell you that.
Which you are. And year 2 in a system, not that they wouldn't know how to use Saquon Barkley, but maybe they find new ways to use him in the upcoming season. I want to circle back to some of the NBA Finals talk we did with Mikey B and PropStarz that we didn't have you for, Ken's. Just your thought on OKC being as large of a favorite as they are at minus 700 to win the series. We pointed out that they were minus 800 to win the series against the Nuggets, and that went 7. So I assume you think the Thunder will win the finals, but should we also assume that it's going to be a short series given the price to win the series?
I think, the one thing you could ding that team with was that they weren't battle tested, right? We haven't really seen them go through the ringer yet, face adversity. But when you play in 7 games with the greatest player in the world, I think that finally gave them that chip on their shoulder that they could do it. And I think the only thing you could say poorly about this team is that they just haven't done it yet. And that's what we said about Boston last year. So our model all year has been just as high, if not more high on this team. We have them winning even game 1 by 15, 16 points. And we'll, throughout the playoffs, we'll see these matchups and these series unfold. And we liked those teams prior in, series priors. We loved Minnesota. We loved them to beat the Lakers and things like that. But once you are on the other side of this OKC team, the model just immediately says you're toast. And we loved the Pacers too. So I think that just really goes to show how strongly we feel about this team, considering when we put teams that we also really liked up against them, we're still seeing the OKC dominance just really show. I mean, you think statistically, this is one of the greatest teams in NBA history. From a stats nerd standpoint, it's pretty amazing to see.
About the Pacers odds, and to your point there too, right? Like OKC's been the best team all season long, more than 80 wins combined here, regular season and playoffs. So certainly maybe they've earned that minus 700. If Indiana were to win this thing, just play along with me here. 50-1 in the preseason, 80-1 at the start of these playoffs here. Put into some perspective from a numbers standpoint, just how much of an anomaly that would be, or how much we would remember that as being one of, if not the largest upset in NBA Finals history.
I would call it the largest upset in NBA Finals history. And the way they would have to do it is that they would literally need OKC's D performance game. Like their A game blows them out by 20 a game. Their B game blows them out by 15 a game. Their C game, maybe it's a close game. I think it literally takes an utter, just complete downfall of SGA. Not to hope injuries aren't on anyone, but it would take injuries, things like that for this to go that way. I've always praised the Pacers for being so deep and having such great role players that all could pop off, maybe get hot from deep on any given night. You will not outbench OKC, in my opinion. So, I mean, we're basically in line with odds makers with giving them the around minus 700, 90% chance to take this series here. But the numbers, we do this across NFL, college football, March Madness. Like the dominance we're seeing with this specific team, this series overall is pretty astounding.
And the Thunder lost 1 game all year to an Eastern Conference team. So certainly not that they were playing a Pacers caliber squad every night out when they played the East, but it says just how dominant they've been start to finish and across both conferences here. Before I let you go, your Sixers have the number 3 overall pick. Assuming they're not going to trade up to get number 1 and Cooper Flag, what does Philly do here? What do they need?
I mean, you might have to.
A lot.
I think, yeah. I think there's a lot that needs to be done here. You're talking to a big Tyrese Maxey fan, a big Jared McCain fan. All I have to say about the Sixers is I'm really glad I also have the Eagles to keep me afloat here. But you might have to get rid of the big guy if you can, and you might have to just completely wipe clean and hopefully be able to keep Tyrese Maxey in the process, in my opinion.
NBA Twitter is going to have a great offseason. You can just feel it. I was joking with the guys earlier that every franchise will attach Giannis Antetokounmpo to their team as a possibility. We'll all find ways to make that happen and fit under the cap, if you will. And if Embiid ends up going somewhere too, what a storyline that would be. All right, Mackenzie, thank you so much. A reminder, we've got the Early Edge podcast daily. You can watch it, you can listen to it, all by scanning that QR code on your screen right now. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Early Edge on CBS Sports Network. Enjoy the beginning of the NBA Finals when we finally get there. We've prepared you. I'm Chris Onorato. Have a great Monday.